Foundational Yoga Poses series where we learn how to do each and every pose safely. My name is Anastasia. Today we'll be learning to practice downward facing dog, also known as Adho, Mukha, Svanasana. Let's get started. Downward facing dog, or Adho Mukha Svanasana, as it's often referred to in the Sanskrit language. So today we're going to be talking about downward facing dog and how to get there safely. Even though oftentimes this pose is referred to as a resting pose or the reset pose in between the rounds of different postures that are performed during the yoga class, this is not a very easy pose to hold. It works a lot of your major muscles, it works a lot of your major bones. It strengthens your shoulders, your arms, your vertebrae. It stretches your hamstrings and the plantar fascia, which is just a ligament that connects the heel and the front part of your foot. It has a lot of benefits to it, and it's very important to be able to get safely into this pose. So what we're going to be doing today is to get into the pose safely, and then I'll show some common misalignments that people do while performing the pose, and then provide you the different variations that serve your body best. So to start, we're going to send our tailbone onto the heels, and if you want to combine a couple benefits and maybe stretch your toes, then you want to curl your toes like this, or you can just not curl it and sit your toes just on your heels. It is completely your choice. So once you're there, we're going to start with the shoulder rolls. And take it slow, forward and back. And as you proceed with the shoulder rolls, I just wanted to get a feel of how it is in your body when your shoulders get closer to your ears versus when you send your shoulders down. So as you send your shoulders closer to your ears, how does it feel in your back? To me, it feels like there is a little constriction, not enough space in the back. Versus when you send it down, there's more space created in the back. So that's what you want to feel in the downward facing dog position, a lot of space in your back. And now we're going to lift our arms above your head and do the same thing. As our downward facing dog, we'll incorporate the arms above our head. Before we put any weight onto that, let's just try doing this in this position, lifting your shoulders up and down. So I want you to see a very distinctive difference here. So if I lift my shoulder up, then along with my arms, it goes up. And that's kind of visible too. And we don't want that to happen. As the shoulders go down, as the arms go up, the shoulders need to stay down. And so I just wanted to feel, while you're in this position, how it is in your back, the space that is created in your back. So from here, if you feel comfortable with this and clearly understanding in your mind how it feels in your back, then we can go onto the all fours position from here. As you go into the all fours position, just make sure that your hands are directly below your shoulders and your knees are directly below your hips. From here, we will rotate the eye of the elbow. I'm referring to this crease, the elbow crease right here, and we're rotating this inward, making sure that this crease of the elbow facing the front of your mat. If you find that the crease of the elbow is not parallel to the front of your mat, then I recommend you widen the stance of your hands and maybe even rotate the middle finger 45 degrees from here to create even more space in your back, and then rotate the eye of the elbow again to make sure and see that the crease of the elbow is parallel to the front of the mat. So if you have some hyperextension in your elbow, then I would recommend you tighten your focus on the rotation even more, because you don't want to rotate it in an excessive manner. Maybe even microbend your elbow a little bit before you rotate if you have hyperextension. Otherwise, the rest of us just focus on the crease, parallel to the front of the mat. If that's achieved, just widen your fingers and press firmly onto the mat, particularly onto the index finger and the thumb knuckles. From here, we're going to lift the knees slowly and send the tailbone up. Do not unbend the knees yet. So keep your knees bent. At this time, the goal is to keep the back straight. And as you keep your back straight, make sure that your head is also in line with the back. So this is one straight line, your back, neck, and head. This is the goal of this pose really. You don't have to unbend your knees if you don't feel comfortable, and you don't have to have your heels on the mat like this. You can have your knees bent at all times as you perform the downward facing dog, as the goal of this pose is to straighten your back and to keep the length and space in your back. Now that we're here in this position, pay attention to the shoulders. Are they going up towards your ears, just like we talked about in the beginning of the video, or are they down? And are they allowing for space in your back, or are they creating constrictions? Okay, now that you're aware of that, we can start trying to straighten your legs. Straighten your knees and see if you can reach the heels, reach the floor with the heels. And if you can't, that's completely fine. That's not the goal, like I mentioned. If at any time you compromise the length in your spine, then that's time to bend your knees again. So you can paddle through your feet here. This kind of helps to get into the stretch of the hamstrings a little softer, instead of just directly straightening, your legs like that. And some teachers call it walk the dog, so that's the same idea, just paddling through your feet. So I'm going to get to common misalignments at this time. So if you find yourself in the kyphotic spine, which means your back is rounded outward like this, then you should bend your knees again to find that length in the spine. So if your back is rounded, then that means your spine is not straight. So to find strength, bend your knees to get you to one straight line. Otherwise, if you find yourself in the lordotic spine like this, where your spine is rounded inward, then your tailbone needs to go back towards your heels. Your navel needs to go in, and only then you can try to draw your tailbone back and up. Also pay attention to the length between your hands and your feet. This could be a little too long. I can demonstrate it here. That would be a little too long of a distance between your feet and your hands, but this can be too short. So we want to find a happy medium, sort of. And you can see by my spine if I'm in the right position or not. Right now it's way too rounded now. So I didn't find any length in my spine. So I need to create more space between my hands and the feet, so that you can see the long spine again. So next we're going to get into some modifications and variations of the poses that can be done if none of this what I described worked.